Hello everyone, Daniel Kerr here. So I got a bright idea, okay? In the last video, not the last video, but the one where I used the Korg Triton, I mentioned that the Korg Triton sequencer is not worth using in my live performance pattern-based paradigm. It's just not conducive for that use. So what I ended up using it for was nice pads and just like synth voices. It has an amazing synth, right? And it just sounds beautiful, right? So one of the things about the pads and all the synth voices in the Korg Triton LE is that there's a lot of stereo movement, right? So that kind of makes it unusable for sampling into, say, the ESX or the ES2, because I always like to have mono samples. But then I kind of got the idea, what if I sampled a synth note on the Korg Triton, right? And then I put it into my DAW and I maximized it, right? Use a limiter to get it nice and loud. And then I pitched it up 12 semitones, thus cutting the time that it actually, the sample is in half, okay? Then maybe I could use I could use stereo samples in the ES2 for synth voices, right? I don't really need 16 channels on the ES2 anyway. When you use a synth voice, it uses two slots, two pad slots, two channels, two whatever, two tracks. But yeah, maybe I could get 3 or 4 really nice synth voices and then use 8 drum pads or whatever bass lines and things like that, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a nice voice on the Korg Triton LE, and I'm going to record one note, maybe a middle C, okay? And I'm going to record a pretty long, sizable note, and then I'm going to put it into software, and I'm going to keep one copy the way it is, and then I'm going to pitch it up like I mentioned. I'm going to put it into the ES2, I'm going to pitch it back down, and then I'm going to record a note from the ES2, that same note. And then we're going to use Voxengo Span, which is, I think, a really nice spectrum analyzer that's free. And we're going to compare, not just with our ears, we're going to A-B the two recordings of the Triton, and we're going to see how much audio degradation there actually is with this technique using the ES2, okay? In the ESX, I've done this, and it works well mostly for gritty, nasty bass lines and drums, okay? But the ESX doesn't sound as good as the ES2, so I expect maybe this is usable, all right? So we're going to find out, and it's going to be an interesting experiment. Here goes. Okay, so I found a voice that I like. It's called Liquefied. Let's listen to a note. Nice big stereo spread. In fact, not only did we just listen to the note, we just recorded it. So let me shut this down, take it upstairs, and figure out how we can process this. So here we are in Ableton Live. We're going to go to Session View. I'm going to drag the clip that I just made into Ableton Live. And I did mention that I was going to do some processing on the sample and maximize it or limit it, get it nice and loud. But actually that would, I got to change the grid to off, fixed grid to off. That would defeat the purpose. I'm not going to do any processing on this sample because that would defeat the purpose of doing a comparison between the original sample and the new one, which we're going to double in speed and pitch, thus saving time. Down here I have to turn the warp engine off, and I'm going to adjust the pitch up 12 semitones or 1 full octave, and this is what it sounds like. Okay, and I'm going to put that into the ES2, and I'm going to adjust the pitch there, and we will listen to a comparison and see how this turns out. Okay, so now I've got the sample in the on the card, and what we want to do, I'm going to go Shift and parts 14 or something, and hit the exit button, go over to sample edit, enter. Actually, I need to go to data edit, so exit there and go over to data utility, export pattern, import pattern, initialize pattern, import sample. Oh no, there it is, import sample. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see this, hopefully you can. And I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to scroll down to shortwave, which is what I decided to call it, and I'm going to enter it. And we're going to put it where I don't have samples. I'll put it on 999 just to make sure. Now let's listen. No, that's not it, is it? No, it's not. Gotta go to data utility. This is kind of weird. Gotta go to sample edit. It's weird that it doesn't actually just show up. Okay, let's listen. Alright, that's our stereo wave. So let's go over to play level. Let's go to sample tune. Let's turn it -12 so we can hear it again. Okay, now when I did that just now, we could write that, and we'll have to export all samples to make it to make the changes take place, right? But I just sent that, or I just recorded that just now into my DAW, so you will be able to. We're going to go and analyze it right now. Let's go take a look. Actually, let me show you how to export all samples. Exit, go to data utility. Export all sample, which is 11 out of 14. Working. Let's see if it works. Some samples give me a real trouble. %, 95. Oh, it worked. Okay. Okay, so here we are in Ableton Live, and here on top here I have the new sample in the ES2, and down here I have the original sample. And as you can see visually, whoops, well, they're gonna play. Okay, let's listen. This is the original. And this is the new. There's not a huge amount of difference. Now look down here at the analysis. You see the original is pretty smooth. Okay, there's something here in the subs, right? And in the new sample, there are some artifacts here which are unexpected, and it cuts the highs off a little, which I already knew kind of was going to happen. But the sound, it's not that different, you know, to the ear, right? Okay, so that's what's going on here. What I'm going to do is let me stop this from looping. I'm using this to record my voice. Okay, so in the end, it's a pretty successful experiment, I think. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sample a bunch of big synths on the Triton, and probably from some software and stuff as well, and I'm going to throw it into the ES2. I'm going to include this with the remix, the community remix project, which has been ongoing. I don't have a lot of takers so far, so if you guys have some of these units and you want to get in on this remix project, I think now's the time to get in. You can go to ghostwrittenclips.com, which is in the description. I'm going to take some time right now to put these synths into the ES2, like I was saying, and then I'm going to just smash together a synthesizer, big synth-oriented part, right? And just see how things go. I think I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put 5 synthesizers in there, which is going to take up 10 of my tracks on the ES2 because they're stereo. Then I'll probably use 2 for bass lines, right? Those will be mono. So I guess that's going to take up 12, and then I'll just put a simple drum kit in there, a kick, snare, open hi-hat, and closed hi-hat, or some other percussion. Okay, so before I get into this demo, I wanted to show you what I did, because this is amazing, all right? First off is I scrapped the Triton, and I made a bunch of pads using Isotope Iris 2, which is one of my favorite synths, and it just makes huge evolving pads with a huge stereo spread. So I've got all these really nice synths in here. Listen. All right, and they just sound beautiful. They have a huge stereo spread, so it's just nice. It's really nice. Now, another thing that I noticed is that when I put these guys into the sampler, I basically used the Electrive editor to load these into the sample a project file, an ALL file or whatever. Put it on the card, loaded it up. It gave me twice the time, right? This whole pack. I got 15 synths on here, and then I got a bunch of like basses that are in mono, and then I've got some drum kits, 7 or 8 drum kits. It ended up being only about 17 or 16 megabytes out of 24, so there's plenty of room for more sampling. The thing is that I didn't have to pitch them down an octave except for one. It kind of detected that they were pitched up too high, and it adjusted it itself. I don't know how that's even possible, but it is possible. So it's really weird. I've got these synths. They sound good. Here's another thing. As I was working, I was just basically writing patterns over the old patterns, which is the last sample pack, which was in project file, which is in G minor for the remix project. So this is in G minor as well at 150 BPMs, just the same. The thing is like, what I noticed is that I went to one of the old patterns, and because it's in G minor as well, it has brand new samples, but they're all over the place. It sounded really strange, but I thought, man, I can kind of work with this, okay? Here's the interesting part, right? Listen to this pattern. Let's go back here. If I see the triggering parts, okay, for instance, on this pad here, my oscillator, it's just, it's a stereo synth, but notice how, what I was showing you before, the stereo takes up, let me move this a little so you can see, it takes up 2 slots, left and right, right? The left and right channels. Apparently, if you have, let's just say that I had something in mono here, I could still choose a stereo sample here, but it would convert it to mono. Isn't that strange? I don't know why that is or how that's possible, but I've got basically like, because this is one of the sine waves or one of the oscillators that come with the machine, this sample slot is free. I can still choose one of these stereo synths, right? It's just not stereo anymore. So that's very, very strange. Anyway, this pack is available. Go ahead and check the description and go see all of the packs that I've released over the last couple weeks for both ES2 and ESX, right? And some of them have both ES2 and ESX files in them at the same time. And it's a pretty sweet setup that I got going on. Anyway, love you all. Enjoy this demo.